All right, everybody. Welcome to the final round of the 2021 Scythe Winter Cup Finals. I've got Nevik here with me, who was a semifinal player in this tournament, and he and I are going to be covering the final round that's being played between three players that, if you're on the Discord, you know them. Or if you watch a lot of my videos, you probably recognize their names as Joy Division, Mr. Durr, and BB Scythe. A brief overview for those of you who are not familiar to this format. We started with 42 people. After 4 rounds, we broke 9 people to semifinals, and they played in 3 different matches. The winner of each 3-person match advanced to finals. Finals also has 3 people in it. They're playing 3 different combinations in this final round. Albion Militant, Polania Engineering, and Crimea Agricultural. Each game you win is a point, and there's what is called a set challenge. The set challenge in this one is to control the most hexes in a straight line, and it's called Settlers of Europa. Kind of like your idea, Nevik, I think. We're both event coordinators. Nevik came up with the idea, this idea of like a longest road in Scythe, right?
I actually think that one was the name of it, I think, was your idea. I think the concept might have been mine, but
yes. Yeah.
Oh,
okay, well, I'll take some credit.
It's all collaborative.
Basically, though, you're looking at trying to win as many games as you can and get the most hexes in a straight line each game. You could theoretically get 4 points if you win all 3 games, and you get the challenge point as well. 3 points is enough to take it. We could have what's called a tie and have each person get 2 points. One person win 2 games, one person gets a game and the challenge point. If that happens, then what they do is they average the percent of each player gets of the winner's score each game. Whoever has the highest percentage win. Basically, there's a math tiebreaker, and the better you did in each individual game, the greater chance you're going to win. And here it looks like it's starting up.
Yep. So we have Joy starting on Polania. I think BB start on Albion. We all know BB hates IFA.
Yes, he is. He's made a point of saying that.
Yeah. So I know this was Joy came in as the top seed, so he got to choose where he started. And I think he chose Polania because they have the highest variance, right? So much depends on that first encounter. And I think he wanted to get the high variance one out of the way early so he could know how to play Albion and Crimea later if he needed to eventually recover from bad luck Polania.
Yeah. Almost think that could have gone a different way too, though. You could have thought, well, you can take more risks on Polania if you need to swing for the fences. But I think he must have felt the way you said, because that's what he did. These players playing pretty quickly now. They've had about a week to work out what their openings are going to be in these combinations, not only focusing on the combinations they're going to play, but also taking in mind what the other things are on the board. And is this Durr on Crimea?
Oh, of course it is.
Durr is known for building and liking to build.
He loves the build strats, especially with Crimea. He's come up with some clever ones.
Durr lives to make building meta. And it's not meta, not really, but he pulls away with it really well. That was huge.
Oh, getting a mech from that first encounter.
BB's
so Joy rushed the encounter.
BB's shaking in his shoes right now, and he's really glad he rushed his first mech. So now, oh my gosh, he's taking that worker to the tundra.
Yeah, this I've played around with an opening just like that for Albion Militant. So it allows you, with the character, because he has Rally now, to take that Tundra encounter first if you want, and maybe get out into the middle of the board a little quicker. You potentially might get stuck on mechs, but you can always move the character there and then move the worker back to a mountain if you want.
Yeah. We have we're going to have a round 5 factory, and Polania can attack Albion in round 6.
Yeah.
Albion is now going to have combat cards because of that food, which is good.
I think you have a bigger issue. Polania can come raid Crimea. Crimea doesn't have a mech and is 3 turns from making one.
Yeah. So it can attack the farm in turn 6, or the reason I thought about Albion is you have an encounter on that tundra and you have an encounter on that village. And right now, Albion, I guess as Albion, you could split the baby and take your character to the village and either leave the mech and the worker on the tundra or move them where you were going to go. But if you were thinking about going to the tundra where your mech is, I guess you could go to the tundra where your mech is and move the mech to the village. The point is, Albion's got to be really careful about how they move, because Polania is eyeing those encounters, and if they see a way to grab an encounter and mess up Albion simultaneously, they're going to take it.
Well, especially because they're already at 0 pops, you get no penalty for booting that worker right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
Did you guys see that factory card? Oh my.
What?
2 coins for an enlist and a power.
So long. There must be something else worthy in there.
Maybe the pop for the enlist is okay. Wow. This is not what I expected.
Well, this is
a bad
identical to the opening I played around with. I think it's a tough one too. He did not get a good encounter at all, though.
No. But here's why I said it's a bad move. This worker on the village is all by itself, and there's an encounter there. And as you pointed out, Polania has 0 popularity. I fully expect that when it's Joy's turn here, this character is going up to this village and this worker is going home. And then Albion can basically kiss their economy goodbye for a while.
Well, Albion just looked at Polania's cards and got 3 cards himself. Surely not what he wanted.
What was that, a trade out of Crimea?
For wood and a metal. So Crimea is 2 turns away from making their first mech. And I totally agree. That's what I expect Joey to do here. Polania, get that first enlist, pick up that encounter, and wreck Albion a little.
Yeah, I'll be really surprised. I mean, maybe between that and a produce, but I'll be surprised if you don't see this worker get bumped either this turn, or I guess you could wait a turn and bump the worker next turn, because Albion can't move. All they can do is produce. So maybe you produce this turn, take that encounter next turn. But that's got to be one of the options here. All right, chat. Yeah. I haven't been watching chat. Prince Ali, what's the challenge, FOMOF? Okay, the challenge is to occupy the most hexes in a straight line. So right now, Albion has 2, Polania has 3 with the lake, and Crimea has 2. But those numbers are obviously going to fluctuate dramatically throughout the game. It's called Settlers of Europa, kind of like, The Longest Road and Settlers of Catan. He didn't do it.
Oh. Maybe he's waiting until there's more workers there, because he still didn't pick up any pop, and he got money, which he likes here. Oh, he doesn't have the pop to do the 2 pop for an upgrade and 2 resources.
It's a bad encounter. I mean,
it's a good encounter if you had the pop for it.
Well, yeah, contextually. But now, I mean, I guess the next move you can move to the to take the village encounter that Crimea often takes with the character, and move the mech that's on the lake to bump that Albion worker. I just think you're gonna see. I just think you have to take that opportunity. Albion's left themselves open. I don't see how you don't do that.
Oh, as Polania, do you 2-for-1 Albion, take their metal, and just totally ruin their game?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. I would probably take that encounter and send that worker home.
Dirt likes this putting
Foundations of the Empire for Crimea.
Dirt likes them out in Crimea, the mine next to it. He's like, it's like having a underpass and a scout all in one.
Called it.
Okay. Yep. You're right.
Oh my! He doesn't have 3 pop. Okay, he can't take number 3, so it's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And 2's not bad. But I mean, he's set on his mechs now.
Yeah.
He's set for on his mechs. He's set for his enlists. He just needs to. He has something to do every turn now for most of the rest of the game. He's got.
And actually, I think Albion's in huge trouble. They produce. They'll have the 3 metal, and then Polania's got enough to go 1v1 and take the metal if they want.
Yeah. Crimea with those 2 stars.
No, not anymore.
Albion running to the factory.
So Albion's going to get to the factory and put a flag on it, but have 0 economy. No wonder BB hates IFA.
You couldn't leave that worker by itself. I thought he was either going to bring the workers to the village and double up on it, or split them, but you couldn't leave the worker by itself. I could be wrong. I don't see a way that Albion climbs back out of this hole, because Polania is just on fire. You're talking about 3 turns to get the enlists, 2 more to get all the workers, which they just did 1 of those, and 2 more trades to get the mechs. That's turn 15. And if you picked, we could be looking at a turn 15 end from Polania right now, if while getting those enlists, they're able to do one-on-one combats. And that's if they don't pick up more bottom row actions off encounters while moving around. That's just with what they have so far. Do you think Crimea is going to build, though?
Well, of course.
What? Number 2, and you take some oil here, maybe? What do you think?
Yeah. Oil, and then probably some metal, though, too, right? 1 oil and 2 metal, and use a combat. Oh, you don't have any combat cards.
I guess the food allows you to bolster for a combat card and get an enlist.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, it's Polania's turn.
Polania hits Crimea on this tunnel, right?
I thought surely they would. I was just going to say, here comes the Polania attack, because like you said, Crimea has no combat cards.
And no scout.
And no scout.
And you'd kick them off from building them.
Yeah. Polania could have factory carded, right? And gotten an enlist, and they'd be at 2 enlists and 2 mechs instead of 3 mechs and 2 enlists, and they would have set Crimea back dramatically. I'm with you. I don't know why he passed on that opportunity. Maybe he wasn't watching Crimea's combat cards.
Maybe not. That's why I always keep the that power tray and everything, all the details at the top. That's why I always keep that wide open. So the other underrated thing about Polania getting that enlist factory card is Crimea sees 4 fewer enlists now to get combat cards from their neighbors, because Polania is only going to do it through the factory card. So you're right. You were right, Fomoff. One of the factory cards was a 2-pop one. That's the one that BB just picked up on Albion. Combat card for 2-pop.
So now Crimea does have a combat card and 6 power, so it just got a lot more complicated to attack them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Polania, if this game doesn't end up going his way, I think he's going to look back on that moment and really kick himself if Crimea pulls this out.
Yeah.
But we still see, even though Polania just has a 1 star, they've got a lot of momentum, because we see them on 1, 2, 3, 4 bottom row actions, and really you can count having 8 workers as like having 2 to 3 additional bottom row actions, because they're often, at least on a mat like the engineering mat, you have to produce workers without doing the bottom row action unless you're actually upgrading. So it's like he has 6 or 7 bottom row actions in turn 10, which is incredibly efficient.
Yeah. And then he's 1 trade away from his 4th mech and his mech star.
We just saw an enlist out of Albion, which gave Crimea a card, which allowed them to trade for a mech without going down to 0 combat cards.
And they deployed Scout.
And they deployed Scout. So that's nice because Scout with 0 cards is a lot weaker than Scout with 1 card. Because Scout with 0 cards means you know what their card is.
Yeah.
Scout with 1 card and they could have a 5. Yeah, you just factory carded to this. That's not what you wanted to see as Polania.
No. I mean, I guess you take 1 and 2, right?
What's the build bonus? Straight line?
Straight line.
So you lose a coin to build 1 building. You control the spot. And if you build an armory, you could get 1 power off of it. 1 coin for a power. You're not going to bolster. Oh, he took
took just a whole pile of oil.
Probably just because it's worth money. I don't think he's going to spend it. It's worth 3 coins and he paid 2 pop. Yeah. He doesn't need for it. So, I mean, it can get stolen by... Crimea is the only problem. This is some creative moving by Albion. I mean, it's turn 11. They only have 2 workers. We've just kind of counted them as dead in the water. I still don't see them coming back, but they're certainly making the most of it.
Yeah.
Let's check in on the score. Crimea's, I mean, we've been high on Polania. They're substantially down in points, but it's because they only have
no coins.
They only have 3 territories, and they're in a position, unlike everybody else, to just spread as much as they want. Okay, so I was wrong. He is going to spin the oil. Okay, that makes sense. Move, upgrade.
Yeah. Move to enlist. You hope you pick up 2 food in an encounter and get to spend it right away.
Man, I just feel like that factory card, that's nice. Although he factory carded with the character for this spot because he wanted the encounter. Would you have considered factory carding with one of the mechs and getting your workers to the village all in the same move?
No, he wants his workers there to enlist. I think interesting. So I was going to say before what they spent came up, that moving your character there tells me you're probably going to spend a lot for that because you really want the encounter. Like that's where if I'm Polania, I think, oh, he's probably going all out max here. Maybe I throw less because now Polania is down to no power. You know, unless they thought there was a bluff and that was a chance to get combats. Polania is up against it to get combats this game now.
What did Polania just do?
You mean Crimea?
Oh, Crimea. Yeah, I was looking in the wrong place.
They bolstered and enlisted.
Bolstered and enlisted. So
and a bonus from build, which means they're going to hit tier 2. I guess no, it offsets the pop from building offsets the pop you have to spend for producing with 8 workers.
Albion has shield, so you can't be, even if you pull 3 power off of the enlist bonus, but Polania is not going to counterattack Albion. That fight was very painful for Polania.
Yeah.
You're looking for some food now off this encounter, or even some power, right? Wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. I think Polania is setting up to run the Settlers of Europa Hex Challenge right across the middle here. They brought that mech over with a couple workers. I think they're going to drop them in Russiet's Peninsula. And they could try to connect through the factory, through the lake in the middle. Or you can see Polania get like 6 or 7 hexes in a row here. If you look at how they place their workers, I'm almost positive that's what they're doing. Because they left 2 on the village, so they can move 1 left, west to their own farm. They're going to run a whole line there.
Has the game shifted? Is Crimea... Chad is asking, is Crimea now in the best position here? And I think the answer might be yes.
I think so.
Polania had 2 things go wrong for them. They didn't send Crimea home off that wood tunnel, 1. And 2, that fight with Albion, where they lost something like 6 power and a combat card just got sent home.
Yeah. Yeah, they spent all their power and a 5 combat card to tie. Both of them went all out.
And Albion not in a horrible spot right now. I mean, you got to hand it to him. He's got 3 flags down in good spots. He's 2 produces away from 8 workers. He has 3 mechs and 2 enlists. I mean, he's sitting on 15 coins. So I still say advantage Crimea here.
Mm-hmm.
But all things considered, Albion's doing okay. Crimea making a move here.
Yeah. Which I'm not surprised. This is a pretty easy fight to win when you have them out-muscled.
For sure. This game has lasted too long for Polania, I think. I mean, how are they going to get their combats now? Albion's grouped up on one spot, and Crimea has Scout plus 6 power. And
sorry, go ahead.
Look at the score.
Yeah. I want to think they're nowhere near any other bottom row actions, right? So you get an enlist star, you get an objective star, brings you up to 4, but you're nowhere near upgrades or buildings and have no factory card that's going to help. So the only way you're ending is
2 combats and objective, right? Exactly. You have to have. Sorry, that's your point. You have to have combats basically. Like, you needed to be ending the game in turn 15 if you were Polania. And it's looking right now like there's no way that's going to happen, because here it is, turn 15. And you can't get 2 combats and objective and an enlist off of your factory card. Which is what you need to do to end right now in turn 15. Crimea has turned in an objective. So Polania's best hope here might be to stall, which is going to be tough, long enough to suicide into Crimea. As crazy as that might sound, because that's what you do if you don't have the power to win a fight, is you force somebody else to win it.
Yeah, but Crimea's going to be a tier 2 pretty soon too.
Yeah. Got 6 popularity, 1 more build away. Although they do have they have 8 workers.
Yeah, so the produced build is a net neutral.
Mm-hmm.
But they can pick up an encounter too.
All right, picking up some territories, trying to increase their score. Oh, did we see?
Oh,
did we see an objective?
No, but that's got to divert. It's got to be 3
I think it's 3
tundras.
tundras.
Or it's diversified. Oh, they don't have any on woods. Yeah, it must be 3 tundras. Because otherwise, why would you move the mechs down near Crimea's base?
So Polania at 36 now. The score is pretty close again. Albion going for an encounter. It's going to pick up 2 food and a pop. Puts him in tier 2 with 1 star, not making huge. The score is really close for everybody. Albion's going to go to 8 pop now.
Yep.
So
you think Albion can hit tier 3? They've got that factory card. Which I just used.
I think somebody's going to end before that happens. And Polania can hit Albion now that they're all alone, right? Because they have 3 power. Albion has shield.
Look at shield.
So Polania can get a combat if they have a 5.
Probably with 8 cards. Oh, we saw 1-5 in the earlier combat.
Mm-hmm.
With 8 cards, you hope. Yeah, you'd hope that.
Just gonna move a character to the water.
Oh, so you can go 2v1.
I mean, I feel like once Crimea reaches the factory, the game's probably over, right? I mean, they can't get a factory card unless they're willing to give up tier 2, but I mean, they're tied with Polania right now and on the verge of tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the monument. So he bolstered for that. He bolstered for that pop.
Yep.
Takes the enlist star and goes to tier 2, vaulting his score up to 54.
and now he's pick 2 of mech build combat away from winning.
So yeah, no one has the guns essentially to bump him off that forest.
No.
Polania just doesn't have the score or the power to end this. This is Crimea's game. It really looks like.
Yeah, nobody can bump off the forest, and they can just trade, deploy for their mech.
It looked so good for Polania early. That encounter, those first few encounters, and the ability to just knock Albion out of the game so quickly. But it just left Crimea alone.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Polania still has some magic here. Because there is one question is, where is Crimea going to get? Do they need a combat?
They don't need a combat. Build, you produce and build, and then you trade deploy.
Right.
As Crimea.
They don't need a combat.
And like you said, no one can knock them off this forest.
They may not have to move again.
Prevent them from building.
And if they do, they can just walk into the factory. I mean, maybe you take a turn to walk in the factory right now while there are no workers on it. No,
because Polania is going to use their factory move, I think, after they win this. Because there is a worker, I think they there's one worker up on that Albion hex they're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Polania does a factory move, drops a worker on the factory, and then leaves their mech on the lake between their peninsula and the factory for a 4 hex in a row, and at least I don't think that's going to be enough, but it'd be close.
You're still 14 points down, and so you think Polania is just going to go for 4 hexes in a row and let Crimea win this game?
I don't see what else you can do with Polania.
Yeah. There's a Crimea mech all by itself, but you can't win a 1v1.
No.
61
so Crimea's
40,
at 5 stars,
over.
up 21. Yeah.
Game's over.
So I think you have to get as many hexes in a row as you can, which I think is those 4.
Albion has no territories in a row. Or one, I guess. One territory in a row, kind of like that.
And Crimea gets 2.
Polania is looking at 2 right now, unless they do what you suggested.
Well, if they do that, remember, they pick up the factory, and if you're, from a tiebreaker standpoint, you want to get your scores close to Crimea as possible if you're going to concede this game.
I mean, that's 8 points, which would get you to 48, but that's not close to what you need.
Oh. You just did a bottom row upgrade.
This is it, right? This is the game.
I think you missed an opportunity there to pick up the 8 points. I mean, you got, from upgrades, you got
and
a net of 1.
The 4 hexes in a row.
Yeah, which would put you in the driver's seat for that challenge, which you can need that point. You got to think.
I mean, just end if you're here with Crimea. It's 2-2-2 on the challenge. And you can...
Albion only has 1.
Yeah.
I mean, Albion could make it 3 with a move.
Albion wishes the flag counts double. It's not Crimea's turn. It's still Albion's turn. I forgot it was
Albion's going to move 2 flags, so they're going to maximize their score.
Which was enough to get them to 52, but the game's over.
Yeah.
Well, good game. Way to win the first one, Dur. Takes it on Crimea. So Albion has 2 in a row. Polania has 2 in a row. Crimea has 2 in a row. Unless
is Dur thinking about extending his right now?
I would never do that. Except, right here you'd be tempted.
I mean, you're not going to lose the lead. And he could get to 4 in a row?
Yeah, you could, what can Polania do next turn? Move and try to fight. They have 4 power.
Polania could get to 4 in a row.
Polania's not on the lake.
Actually, Polania could get to 5 in a row.
Yeah.
If they get their lake, because they have a move action, so they could park one mech on the lake. They could move their mech from the base to the Albion oil, which connects 5 in a row from the southeast to the northwest. And actually, then they could move their mech from their base onto Albion Mountain. They could get a 6 in a row.
Oh yeah.
Or, yeah,
that would be something, wouldn't it?
You could go take on Albion in a combat. If
he's going to try to
go.
What?
He wants to maximize his score. Right? It's an easy combat to win. Oh, he's going to lose tier 2, though.
Giving up tier 2? What? I don't get this. Why don't you just end it for the win?
I mean, he cuts 8 points out of Albion and distance. So he's going to have a 3 in a row here. So we picked up what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'll pick up 6 hexes.
He's got 4 in a row now.
He loses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He loses 6 and 5. He loses 11, 12 for losing tier 2.
Have you factored in the factory yet?
Yeah, that was part of the 6 he picks up. He's
so
going to pick up 3 here.
He has 4 in a row now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's...
Well, I guess that was a clever way to end it then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's ending because this is combat number 2.
Yeah.
Albion set it up for him. Yeah. No, good move. I like it. I forgot he didn't already have 2 combats.
Yep.
You put yourself in a great place now with the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And even though you gave up tier 2, look at this, you still win by 26.
That's a healthy win. Yeah, 26 points.
That means anybody else who... I mean, right now, you have a win. If all you did was get the challenge point from here on out, you'd have 2. So 1 more win with these numbers in the first game is going to be hard for anyone to overcome.
It's a very similar opening to one I had mapped out as a possibility for Albion. The problem is you get to the factory, great, now what? You have 2 workers.
I mean, the last thing I'll say about that game is you had to know when you took a factory card where you were spending coin to get in lists that the name of the game was going to be rushing.
Yeah.
And you couldn't take turns off. Every turn had to be either a combat and a counter and an enlist, or a mech, or produce for workers, and that's really all you could do. The game just went too long for Polania.
Yep.
Got Joy on Albion. Dur on
Polania.
And BB on Crimea.
So, Dur with an interesting start here on Polania, trading for 2 oil.
Yeah, I've tried that. I've never been able to make the early upgrade Polania Engineering work. I'm excited to see what he's come up with.
And to me, this is going to be a really slow Polania then.
We'll see. I mean, we had a slow Crimea last turn and it won. Yeah, the produce out of Albion.
Off of metal. As Albion, he moved off of metal, which you don't see very often on a militant board.
This is going quickly now. The trade for 2 metal out of Albion. If you notice what Polania just did here, they traded for their 3rd oil and for a metal, which means they're going to get to produce and upgrade their deploy and turn around and trade 2 metal for probably the speed mech and take them to the village.
Or do you upgrade enlist? Okay, goes deploy, yeah. You're right, they'll probably do that. That's a little different twist on the trade 2 metal, produce, trade 2 metal, deploy speed.
Albion really taking a chance here that Polania was going to run a little bit slower. I mean, last game we saw turn 5 factory with Polania. Polania got into the factory in turn 5 this game. Look at all those resources Albion has on the ground.
Well, remember, Polania went first, and when you see a trade for 2 oil out of Polania, you know they can't get to the factory any faster than turn 7 at that point, right? So you know you have a couple extra turns. the benefit of going after Polania, seeing what they're going to do. And yeah, you're right. So Polania deployed speed. Albion getting the list. So I guess you'll see a bolster upgrade out of Albion and then a move deploy.
Yeah, Albion's playing it safe. They want that upgrade. They want to be able to move 3 times, and they're not willing to just YOLO the encounter that they get one.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. A good play by Joy. So you're in a solid position, like you said. Upgraded move. You got a little power. Deploy is cheaper.
Oh, look at it.
Oh no! Again. 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Yeah, so it'll still be a turn 8 factory for Polania. You think BB's sitting here thinking, oh, he's going to get, now what's the encounter he's going to get his Polania, given that these two each got mechs? What?
He didn't take the mech.
Weird.
I mean, I'm breathing a sigh of relief if I'm Albion.
Yeah. You have to wonder what Dur has up his sleeve here.
He has a sequence he really likes, I guess. And he's sticking with the plan.
Well, so it looks like he'll produce to get 3 wood and then bolster and build. So you get some coin and power as Polania, and then he'll probably build a mine there to be able to spread out with his speed. Maybe he's going for a one or two mech strategy.
I just don't know how you pass up Submerge as a second mech right there, though.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to seeing him do it, but surprised.
Yeah.
For me, it gets nothing to write home about off that encounter.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 5-worker Crimea Agricultural?
I mean, it's probably a tad slower, but it looks like this is going to be a slower game than the last game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Crimea is looking at whatever Polania is doing over there, thinking it's going to be a higher scoring game, and maybe Polania not willing to spend the 3 pop for a mech. Maybe Polania might be looking at tier 2 or higher, and so maybe think save the pop as Crimea. They also, it looks like.
Did Crimea not already commit to 5 workers before they knew what? Well, that's nice.
No, they moved on their last turn, and that's when they moved the workers off the village. So I saw what Polania did already. Oh man,
maybe they
medal for Albion, perfect.
There to try to see once they saw what Polania was doing, thought maybe 5 workers, maybe originally intended to do 8.
Yeah, that was a dream encounter for Albion.
Yeah,
right. Because now you can produce, move, deploy, get this while you pick up this other encounter, produce, move, deploy again, produce, move, deploy, and you have your worker star, your mech star. You've picked up the encounter, and you're probably on the factory then. If nobody else, if it's unoccupied.
Yep, you've got another
place to mine there.
I mean, that was turn 8, right? Engineering goes first.
Yeah.
So you move to the encounter in turn 9, presumably. So it's a turn 11 factory instead of a turn 9 factory, since they didn't take that mech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it turn 9 factory?
What? Had they taken the mech, they could have been a turn 8 factory. They moved to the encounter on turn 6.
So 3 turns slower to the factory to when they decline the mech. Okay, what's Crimea doing? This is their first 5-worker produce.
Wait. What is going on with Albion? They produced a worker only.
Well,
were they scared Polania's going to take the medal?
Yeah, well, Polania just needs 1 medal to trade for a mech. It might have been worth it.
Well, and I suppose
that tells you those combat cards Albion has are bad, right?
Yeah, probably. Or they didn't want to invite the fight. Maybe they're trying to coax Polania into the same trap they fell into last game. Don't take early fights. Let everyone beef up so you can't take later fights.
Right.
But Polania, I don't think was going to skip over this encounter, so it would have been a 1v1.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I
Maybe
guess you could have
2v.
Maybe it would be enough. Maybe consider it 2v1. I don't know. Maybe you do consider past. Oh, mech worker block.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're going to? Okay, so this game is just trying to give Dur a second mech, and he will not take it.
And he won't take it.
He doesn't need submerge. Who needs submerge?
Yeah.
Game's like, I'm begging you, make mechs.
So Albion is going to move to the factory here now.
Did they just leave the metal behind? Yeah, because, okay, they're going to drop the mech.
They're going to spend
village.
2 of it and drop a mech there. Shield, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'd think shield. Factory rushes Albion, beats not every day you see Polania get the option for a mech off their first encounter and have Albion beat them to the factory.
Yeah.
That's not an everyday occurrence.
No, not at all. If we check in on the score, I know it's early. Albion's up. They just took the factory and stuck a flag on it. If I had to look at the situation, I think Albion's probably in the best situation here.
Well, Albion's got, at the end of this, they're going to have 2 mechs and an enlist. So that's 3 BRAs and a produce. Polania's got 2 and 2 produces. It's close.
Ooh, a resource for the factory cards must be awful. A resource for a combat card and 2 power, which is nice because you need the power.
But right now, all you have is 2 metal, and you want to spend that on a mech. I know you just spent
which I
2
just
for a
did.
mech. Well, but those last 2 you want to spend on a mech too, don't you? I don't like you've got some extra resources somewhere that you don't need.
They deployed shield. That tells me they're going to go on the offensive.
There's River Walk.
Yeah. Maybe as Albion, you're trading next turn to get resources to use your factory card. Like trade for 2 food, use one of them, and hope you pick up 2 food later to be able to enlist.
So Polania just traded for a food and an oil. So they're looking at a production next turn, an upgrade, and then upgrading a top row action plus enlist, and then moving to the factory and enlisting. But if Crimea chooses to bump these workers right now, that plan is out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And you have oil you can't use and food you can't use. So if Crimea wants to take Polania out of this game right now, maybe they just take the pop hit. And there it is. Don't know if Crimea planned to do that before they saw the trade out of Polania. But they might have done it anyway. Polania had produced. There would have been 2 oil there, which Crimea could have converted into 1 or even 2 upgrades if they had so desired.
This is a dream if you're Albion, seeing your 2 opponents go at it right in front of you.
Polania has to win this fight, right?
Yeah, but you can't spend too much, because if Albion comes and hits you, they're going to sword 2 power away.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Lots of big cards fell there.
Checking on the score. Round 11. Albion with a 6 coin lead. in decent position now.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe
clever.
one more mech back to that village. No, you just deploy a mech on the village.
The village isn't at risk. There's no submersion and no wayfare.
That's a good point.
I mean, you can, because you probably want to move workers off that village with your next move. So it makes sense, because your next produce is going to get you your worker star and the metal for your mech star.
I guess some part of me just really thinks there should be submerge in this game, the way it's gone.
Yeah. Yes, in an alternate universe, Polania has their mech star already, or is one away. Yeah, mech up on the village. It was sword this time. This must have been shield last time. Must have missed.
The trade for metal and a mech.
Yep, scout.
There it
Gotta
is.
Be scout, right? Yeah. Which spells a little trouble for Albion. Only 2 cards.
But the bad news is Polania lost that. I mean, if you're Crimea.
Oh, we just foundations. Nice.
Foundations out of Albion. You bump all these workers if you're Crimea?
I mean, you're not going to get to tier 2 at this point, so you might as well.
You have scout.
But no, and you have an upgraded move. Yes, you could bump the workers, leave a worker there yourself, and go 2v2 on Polania. And scout them.
And bring those, like he's doing, bring those three workers to that village, because you already have all the food you need to get your enlists, and since you have an upgraded deploy, you don't need to be on metal to get your last mech.
I would have considered leaving a worker on metal just for the extra hex.
Polania throws this fight, don't you think?
No.
Do they want the factory more, or do they want to go get those workers out?
No, they want the combat star.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get a combat? You're losing cards. You have more power, and you have 2 units. You win this fight if you're Polania.
Yeah, I guess. It's just a lot of workers sitting on your home base, and this isn't semifinals.
Then you lose a fight later.
Yeah.
I think you win this fight, take the combat star, get to the factory.
I agree with you.
I'm a little surprised Crimea only went 1v1 because of that.
They wanted to get their
Yeah, there we go. Polania spent enough to make sure they won.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Crimea was probably just trying to drain Polania with that one unit, because you see they moved their character up to the tunnel there.
Yeah.
They're really focused on getting the character to the factory, not just keeping Polania off the factory.
Yeah, it'd be like you fed Polania. Polania's got their 2 combat wins now, that's the toughest thing to do on this board.
So I thought Polania might do this. They're throwing this fight for sure. Well, actually, if they win this fight, they get food for another enlist, don't they?
Which means Crimea has to throw something decent. Polania's down to 1 card.
Yeah, I mean, this could go either way for Polania. You lose, you get a mech back on that base to move out those workers. You win, you get an enlist, and you send Crimea home. Yeah, they threw it.
Yep.
All right, checking on the power situation. Crimea is down to no power, no popularity, and 2 cards.
So Crimea can't produce.
Polania has their combats, and they've got this mech back on the home base to bring out these workers. Things are looking a lot better for Polania than they did a turn or 2 ago.
Yeah, I agree. What was the factory card they just got? Card for 3 coin. I suppose you might as well spend the card before Crimea scouts them away, right?
Yeah, there's not much good on the factory left. All right, Albion going to initiate a fight. They're tied with Polania for the lead right now.
They're going to win the fight. My guess is they pull this mech with all the workers and dump those on the factory, yeah. So they're going to win the fight, deploy their 4th mech, and take the factory. It's a big turn for Albion.
Albion has the worker star, about to pick up a combat. Put them at
They got
3 stars.
Yeah,
The
It's
mech
going to
is
be
coming.
4 stars in 2 turns for Albion. Last turn they did Worker Star and Foundations. Here they get a combat and their Deploy Star.
The mid game from Albion this game has been stellar.
Yeah.
I really like their position right now.
Yeah, I think it's Albion's to lose.
They still need 3 enlists.
Yes.
That's the... I think they were hoping on some more help from the factory than they got with that power factory card.
Yep. And while they have a bunch of units on the factory, they have 1 combat card which Crimea will scout away in any fight.
Right.
So it's going to be tough for them to ever retake the factory. They put a 3rd unit on it. Interesting. So Albion with, wow, a 26-point lead right now.
Crimea spent as much as they did because they were planning on bolstering into an enlist turn this turn anyway, and they have an upgraded bolster, so they're back up to 3 power. So with that fight between Polania and Albion, Crimea's back up to being one of the most powerful on the board right now. I think Albion probably is way ahead in score right now, and they are. It's 52 to 27 to 26. The Joy coming back with a vengeance here in game 2. But where are they going to get those enlists? I mean, they do have 1 building. No, that's Polania. I was looking at the grid here.
So Polania's got to be careful not to put themselves in spot for Albion to pick them off on an easy combat, because Polania's got no power and just the 1 combat card.
Well, it looks like Polania has 2 combat cards.
Oh, because they just spent 1. Sorry, it had not disappeared from my screen. The one they spent for the factory card.
Okay.
So does Albion use the factory card here and go for a factory block on Crimea?
No, they're going to grab an encounter.
Hope for an enlist.
And they get an enlist.
There you go.
And boy, do they have the coin to throw down for it.
Yeah. Well,
although you could, do you have 2 pop? Could you consider the 3 food? You could, which would allow you to have all the food you need for 3 trades. But they're going to take the enlist straight up instead.
Yeah.
Okay, the road to winning just got a lot shorter if you're Albion with that. And Albion's about to lose the factory, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to put a big dent in the score. I mean, they'll have 7 power, but they're not going to have combat card, as you pointed out.
Well, they can spend a power to get 1 back.
For the fight.
Yeah, for the fight, you're right. So Crimea can just go minimum here, throw a 2. I suppose they don't even need to risk it, given that they have Scout and everyone outpowered.
And you can be sure Crimea's not bluffing on this one. They don't want to get that character sent home twice.
Yeah, nor do they want to give Albion that cheap combat when it's going to be tough for Albion to come by combats.
Of course, Albion can... I mean, they can triple attack, but it does them nothing without a combat card, because if they pay 1 power, they just get scouted again if they counterattack Crimea. And see, Albion not even going to take the card. It looks like Albion.
I was wondering if they'd take 1 to fight against Polania at some point.
See what that did to the score. Albion suddenly looks very mortal again with Crimea on the factory. No real way for anybody to take it away from them. I mean, they're at 0 power, but 2 cards. I mean, maybe you attack Crimea here. It looks like that's what they're going to do. And, you know, hope they don't have 2 4s. They're never going to be more vulnerable than they are right now because they're going to bolster next turn into an enlist. Then they're going to produce into the worker star. Trade for a mech star.
And he set up his, you see where Joy just put his mechs and workers? So he has a factory move away from either of those encounters now with his character using Rally.
Rally
and very
and
clever
burrow.
placement. Yeah. So you can hit one, and then 2 turns later, factory card right to the other.
So Polania has 2 combats. Crimea already has 2 combats. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
That was best case scenario for Albion right there.
Oh my gosh. That move might have just won the game.
You'll need those 2 enlists. 54-30 right now.
Yeah.
And they've got shield. So you have to bolster enlist right now if you're Crimea. You can't all you can do is 1v1 and you can't win it.
Yeah.
You can't scout a faction with no cards. Wow. Okay.
Oh, no bolster.
Goes for the mech instead. Goes for Wayfarer. Last mech.
Oh. Yep.
Okay, I don't like that. I'll tell you why I don't like that. I don't like that because you get your last 2. Well, they haven't turned in their objective yet, right? That's okay then.
Who, Crimea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trap that you can fall into where you get 5 stars and don't have your worker star yet. And then you can't spread and you can't get enough points without getting the worker star.
Yeah.
And you can't spread without getting the worker star. And if you get the worker star, you win the game and don't win. There's a trade for 2 food for Albion back there on the village. Completely safe because it's round 16 and there's no submerge.
Wayfarer is not safe. Oh, it is safe from Wayfarer because Albion is in the game. Duh. So Albion's set up to end in 2 turns. Use 1 food for the factory card and hope to get an enlist, and then you can trade for 2 food and enlists in your next turn. And Albion's still up 18.
Roll. And you just got a card that Crimea can scout from you. All right, Polania is getting back in the game. But thought maybe they were okay. Okay, we see enlist number 3 out of Polania. Need to not sleep on Polania here. They haven't been in the middle of the action for a while, but they're still on the board.
So do you pull a factory block here on Crimea with your factory move?
Well, you said they needed an encounter, right?
Yeah, but they also need to not lose the factory.
Well, that's what they did.
Oh, they can use a regular move. So move a worker to the Tagawa Mountain encounter and then rally there. So you can pull a factory block and pick up the encounter.
Or the Tundra, either one. They're going to bump a Polania worker. Why do you bump a Polania worker there?
I don't know. I mean, now you're a factory move away from the Saxony Forests encounter, but I feel like you could have picked up an encounter there.
You guys, do you have any guesses, chat? Why you would bump that Polania worker on that farm rather than grab an encounter somewhere? Oh, hello.
Sword him down 2 power, lose a card.
You still have another card. You can win this fight.
Yeah.
But you have 2 combats.
I think it's more about...
Inning
oh, man. And taking 2 power away.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, because now Crimea can max out at 6, which with shield, if you get attacked, you can also do a 6.
Crimea's penned in.
Yeah. Well, they have Wayfarer, but yeah, they're penned in and they can't get the factory back for a long time. It was really good of Albion to put that factory block on. Albion up 24 here.
Man, trouble now.
BB's going to really hate IFA, given that Albion is picking on his Crimea.
So, chat, you're right. Albion's got a lot of spread. But as far as the challenge goes, they just have 2 in a row. Because it's got to be a straight line. You got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. But it's just 2.
They could... I mean, they can move up to the Russ oil encounter, pick up an encounter, and 3 in a row.
Right?
They can factory move on their next turn and put the character there. Or I guess they get 3 in a row if Tagawa is a mountain encounter too.
And if you pull an enlist on that encounter, the game's over and you win.
You'd still need 1 more turn, but yeah.
What did I miss? Oh.
They only have 2 enlists.
Oh, I thought.
Food
they regular moved last turn. I thought they had spent a food on an enlist. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
But I don't think anyone can stop them from winning at that point. I suppose Polania could stop their factory worker and take the factory back. Do you think Polania wishes they had more mechs right now?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh. I almost never second guess Dur because he's just able to make things that are so unconventional work so much. But gosh, if you just have Submerge right now, this is a different game.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. With no Submerge, you can't get to the factory. I just assumed he had Submerge because they always, Polania always does. Yeah, I think we've seen maybe missed opportunities from both Polanias so far.
Crimea maybe taking their time extension right now to think this one through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're surrounded. Actually, maybe this mech was moved to the village tunnel to keep Crimea from getting a little spread into these forests outside of Saxony's base.
Oh, or spread anywhere.
Or
locked in on that.
Or just anywhere village. Through the tunnel.
Yeah.
They're surrounded by combats. Even if they're combats they can win, and that's questionable without bringing 2 units.
No, I think you're totally right. That's why he did it. Something he clearly figured out well before us.
Yeah. Because right now, I think Albion
is a top player.
Yeah, I think Albion right now is thinking that Crimea is the better threat. So Joy is a very good, maybe the best 1v1 player in the game. So if Polania is out of this, and it's hard to count them out of any game, but if Polania is out of it, you're in a 1v1 versus Crimea, which means you don't have to end right away. It can go 22 turns. You just have to have the most points at all times. And that factory is safe. Crimea can't get to it. Polania's 1, 2, 3, 4 turns away from it? They'd have to trade twice? Or get a mech off an encounter
3 in a row here.
Yeah, I mean, chat, yes. Polania can get to the factory, but it's going to take a lot of turns. You got to either get Submerge and move, or you've got to move twice.
They can go with the factory card. They could take their character, jump to the mountain tunnel, and get onto the factory.
Yeah, the factory card's off cooldown now. They could, yes.
But they didn't do that. I suppose they know they're not... The game's not over on the next turn. And you'd hate to do that and accidentally hand Crimea the win. If Crimea has an objective they can hit, they can spread and hit the objective.
This is Albion's turn.
Yep. So Crimea did a factory move. On their next move, they can bring and hit Albion on this tunnel to get 4 in a row, and at least maybe put a little pressure on Albion. Because then with a factory move, they could even get 7 in a row. So there's our third enlist from Albion. I wonder if they did that way to give themselves a combat card, but then Crimea can just scout it. I'm not sure. As opposed to doing the factory move and hopping to an encounter. Because if you do that, you can do... Then they could have done that a second time if they needed to.
Crimea going here for 4 in a row. They're going to...
Oh, geez.
They can win both of these if they have good enough cards. Because they're going to scout Albion. Albion has shield.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, no, you can't win both of these.
Sure you can. Depends what Albion spends. Right,
if Albion spends nothing the first one,
time,
they can throw 7 in the second one, and Crimea has 1 power and 5 cards. So you can't...
So if Crimea is smart, they should take the one they want to win first, which is probably that tunnel, because they give you 4 in a row, an opportunity to go even more. Unless you really want to be able to get to the factory after that, then you want the one by the factory. Which then you just have to trust that Albion can't pick up an enlist.
So Albion has the 2 power off shield. Crimea scouted the only card. And they've got the encounter coming up. Can Crimea end this turn? I mean, with an objective they could, but they're down by 16. I don't see it being enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done the math, but yeah, it's still 12, and you're just going to flip 1 territory. You're out of range. You're out of range of tier 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, so
you win. You bother to win. Do you win this one if you're Albion?
I think you need to, because it's an 8 point.
Win it.
It's only an 8 point difference. If Crimea wins, Crimea takes that hex, and takes a hex from Albion, so that's a 4 point swing.
Mm-hmm.
If they have an objective, that's another 3 points. If they pull like $2 in a pop off this encounter, they could win by 1. Who has the tiebreak? The tiebreak could go to Albion, right? Because units are equal.
And then it comes to
powers.
Second.
I think if you're Albion, you have to throw the 6 though.
Crimea has dug themselves out of a hole though, pretty admirably.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, look, after this, they're going to flip territory, so they're going to be down by 8 after this fight, presumably, right? If they win it. And they might not win it, but if they're down by 8 after this fight, reversing the factory is 12, and suddenly they're ahead again.
Yeah, so you wonder if Albion's going to save their power to come take the factory back if they need to?
Albion's the one whose timer is still running here.
Yeah.
They're thinking about it.
Oh no.
Oh.
The worst of both worlds.
That is not what you wanted.
No. Now, Crimea did not get an encounter that lets them close the gap enough to win.
What'd they take? 2 power for the 2 combat power. I'm sorry, $2 for the 2 power and 2 combat cards. $2 is precious right now, though. You're down by 10. See a regular move out of Polania.
Everyone's closing in on that factory.
Just some spread from Polania and 2 pop for a structure. What'd that do for Polania's score? They're at 48. They're actually ahead of Crimea right now.
Wow. Yeah, the structure was big because it was also on a tundra, and that's the build bonus, farms and tundras.
And they just turned in an objective. Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
They're down 1.
Oh my gosh. And they could win a fight. No, they already have their fights.
They need
a building.
Which they don't have the wood for.
Right. But getting that building off of that encounter was huge for them. Game's going to end before Polania can get the mech star. It has to be the...
So Albion move to an encounter here. And you hope you... What?
Take the factory. Take this spot outside your home base.
Yeah, but now they can't get to an encounter. If you move to an encounter, all you need is food or an enlist, and you win. And you have... Oh, I guess you can't...
They've already got the food. They're blocking Polania from taking the food that's on that village.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that enlist wasn't under move. I was looking at the wrong mat.
Yeah, you have to get an enlist off the encounter. And they've already
which is a lot less common.
So Crimea can only 1v1 you on the factory.
Mm-hmm.
And they can only take one of those cards. So you'd have 6 power to their 2 power. And assuming you have a good card, your odds of holding the factory now are good. Even with Crimea, scouting you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're up on Polania by 3. So you're hoping Polania has that factory card they can use next turn, though.
Yeah.
They can't take the factory from you, but...
Well, they can if Crimea comes and hits you first. Right?
True.
If Crimea hits you, takes a combat card, drains some of your power, then Polania could come and win on the factory.
I think if you're Polania, you've got that factory card. You're down 6 right now. You spin the factory card, that's 3 coins. That gets you within 3. If you get lucky and you get another structure off another encounter, you're tied.
Or 3 wood, or an upgrade and 2 resources. Right, there's a lot of stuff Polania can get from the encounter to be able to bolster and build the following turn.
Right. But if you get just a straight building off the encounter, because Albion's going to end the next turn.
Polania can't get to any encounters. They have no submerge.
Oh, I've done it twice and you've done it once. We've called plays like there's submerge on the board, and there's no submerge on the board. No encounter for Polania.
By round 19, there should always be submerge on the board for Polania.
All right, let's talk about Crimea. You've got that factory card. 2, 3.
You wonder if there's an objective that they have to turn in, or how do you clear 14 points? I mean, if you don't, I think the only way to extend the game is to attack Albion on the factory.
If Crimea had a regular move action, I think they could get 7 hexes in a row.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the only place on the board where there's 7 hexes in a row, right? Yeah.
Well, there's a couple others if you count lakes too. You can get 7 in a row going.
Yeah, we're counting lakes. That's right.
Yeah, up diagonal. Even with their factory move, they could get to 6 in a row.
Mm.
If they wayfare over to Tagawa. Oh, I guess no, they wouldn't be able to reach that far. Never mind.
Or take the Tundra mech and the Tundra worker out to the forest and the mountain, Tagawa's mountain.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if Crimea does not hit Albion on the factory, Polania can't win against a fight. Unlikely to be able to win a fight against Albion on the factory 1v1. Albion wins.
I mean, Crimea doesn't need to use the top row action of their factory card. if they can
Correct.
if they can take the factory here and turn in an objective that they've been holding on to, I think they win. Right?
But because I'm saying I don't think they need to or will win the factory fight. I think they need to do it to weaken Albion enough for Polania to be able to win the factory fight in order to make sure the game doesn't end on Albion's turn.
I see what you're saying. So at this point, you hit Albion not because you think you're going to win, but because you need But if Polania takes the factory, can you come back? I mean, maybe you can if you retake it from them.
Yeah, I think it's what we might see, a bunch of back and forth fights on the factory here.
So that factory, let's not forget, is worth 8 points for Albion. So, say you attack Albion here with the factory move. You take one of their combat cards, and it was their good one, and all they have is 6 power after shield and a 2. That's still 8. And the most you can hope to play as Crimea is a 2 and a 5, which is 7. So you can be sure. What are we seeing here? Are we seeing a factory produce? Yes.
Yeah.
You can be sure that that Albion can hold the factory from Crimea if they so choose.
But then they've spent everything and can't hold it from Polania. Are they just going for 6 in a row here? Oh, taking 4 from Albion that way.
5 in a row and a village. I don't think it's not enough.
No, but if Polania... Can Polania take anything from Albion here?
Albion's up by 3.
Yes.
Polania all they can do is a factory move.
Yeah, but that's enough to get their character over to take the factory mountain, which is another 4 hexes from Polania, and a +2 for them. That would get them the lead.
Okay, 3 coins. You lose a territory, pick up a territory, but Albion loses 2. That's 4, so that's 7. You're down by 3. You go up by 4. Albion picks up 4 off the trade, and the coins.
They've taken their coin bonus already, Albion has.
Yeah, but you get the coins for the bottom row action, so that's 2 coins. You lose 1 for the trade, that's 1. You get 3 from the star, that's 4. That should put them tied.
Yeah, and they have the tiebreak because Polania doesn't have all the mechs. Although they've got 3 buildings. Buildings count as units, right, for the tiebreak?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, but then Albion would have them by A power.
A power. This game comes down to A power. Wow.
That would be nuts.
I love this game.
This game's been crazy. Is that the best move for Polania then? Factory card and steal Albion's territory there next to the factory?
Maybe they should use their submerge to go get an encounter. What do you think?
Yes, I totally agree.
We're going to do it one more time just for...
Yes.
Just for...
Oh, man.
Just for fun. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Through the...
I want to know how many times
tunnels
during this game Durr has wished he had submerge. Personally. I'm going to ask him later.
Yeah. We could pull these guys. We could pull these guys into like voice chat like the old days and ask them about the games after it's all over. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he's made the mistake just like we have. I know I make that mistake sometimes when I'm playing like as Russ, and for whatever reason I deploy Township before Riverwalk, and then I try to move like I have a Riverwalk and I don't have it yet.
I mean, you're Polania, you got to use the factory card. You probably can't take the factory. Here it is. He knows how he's moving now. Oh, wait. You could move the character to that mountain, Nevik.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting.
I was doing the math based on losing the mech on the woodland, on the forest.
Oh.
But if you move the character to that, you don't lose the 2. I don't think Albion can win it. Because, I think you go up 6 instead of 4. And I don't think Albion can end.
No.
Which means Albion then What do they do?
A factory move.
You said they've already. Let's see. You said they've already taken the coin bonus. Yeah, they have.
Yeah. Finish Albion, you do a factory move and get a hex back.
There it is. You called it.
There we go.
And they're up by
score. They're up 6.
Because they took the character instead of the mech, like I was talking about.
Yep.
So let's double check this math. Albion loses a coin, gains 2. That's 1 plus 3 is 4. Albion can't end.
No.
Wow. You know who's really happy right now is Crimea.
Yeah.
Because they have a regular move action coming up. But now they can't take the factory because they moved that mech to that village.
Yeah, they'd have to 1v1, which is not a win.
Which we already talked about how they can't win a 1v1.
Alright, so here comes Albion. Factory move for combat. They sorted Polania down, so they could take their hex back.
Polania. You can't spend a whole lot here if you're Albion. Or you open the door for Crimea.
Polania's going to throw their highest value card, which is likely a 4, potentially a 5. So if you're Albion, you have to throw at least 5. Oh.
Albion wins. But they just reduced themselves to 1 card, and now Crimea can take the factory. Crimea has an objective, the game's over, isn't it? 6?
As long as they have... Well, so if they go to at the factory, Albion has 6 to spend, as long as Crimea has at least a 4, which is virtually a guarantee with 6 cards.
And they pull 1 from Albion, which probably isn't a 4, but...
Yeah. So what Crimea, what objective could they have?
You could see 3 tundras. Move a worker from the Saxony village down to that tundra to pick up a territory. You could see 3 villages. Maybe why they took that village away from Albion last turn. You
get 3 tunnels if you need to. You get 3 farms.
How would you get 3 tunnels?
Well, they're on 2 tunnels. If they have a regular move, you can stomp the Polania worker on the forest tunnel in the northeast.
Right. You need that mech to go to the factory. Oh, with the character up there.
Yeah. I think you get a 7 in a row.
7 in a row and the factory. 3 tundras. I'm calling it.
Either way, the 7 in a row is impressive.
What? 3 farms?
Yeah.
Why did this just happen?
It must be 3 farms. But
it's still enough, right? It's still enough. Do they have 3 farms? They have 3 farms. It's enough. 7 in a row? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Do they have the objective?
They have it. Gotta have it.
This is like dramatic pause.
Are they just savoring the moment?
Checking the score. 3 tunnels.
3 tunnels. You're right.
Wow.
Look, the combat and oh my gosh.
Look how close that score is. 60, 57, 57.
So if Joy wins game 3, BB wins the set in all likelihood. Because this score is so close. If Joy and Dur split games. Yeah, if Joy and Dur split games, BB's got the challenge basically wrapped. You're not going to be able to come back. He has like 9 hexes in a row.
So
he got 2 the first game, I think.
No, he only got 1 the first game.
1. Yeah, he still has 8.
Yeah. So let's see. Albion and Polania each have 3 in a row, correct?
I see 3 from Polania and I see 3 from Albion. Yes.
Okay. So from a challenge standpoint, Joy has 5. BB has 8. Dur has 7. It is not over.
Dur has 7?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's more than I thought either one of them had. Okay.
And Crimea has won the challenge both times, and so that's where Joy is. So he has got every chance to catch up.
See, I would have thought Polania would have a big advantage on this challenge because of lakes.
I thought so too, but you need a submerge for that.
All right, this is the last time we make fun of Dur for not getting submerged in game 2. Kappa, it might come back up. There we go.
So, do we see faster opening out of Polania? Either getting that speed mech right away or YOLOing the encounter like Joy did? What does Dur do with Albion? Alright, so we're looking at turn 4 encounter here from Polania, I bet.
Right. Trade for 2 metal, produce. Trade for 2 metal, deploy speed. Move to the encounter, turn 4. I hate that turn 2 produce on that opening, but there's nothing better to do.
There isn't.
I mean, at least I guess you set yourself up, depending on what you get from the encounter, from a possible building or an enlist, but...
Yeah, a likely enlist, in fact, with how common food is.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. Joy hates it too, but I don't think it's so bad.
Playing quickly here. This is round 3. This is the play fast round.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, if there's a tie on the challenge point, whoever spends the least amount of time in round 3 gets the challenge point. And it's important to everybody because Albion and Polania are both really close on that challenge, and it's a must-win for Crimea, even though they're trailing.
So it's interesting we saw Crimea trade for 2 metal. Tells me they're going mechs early over enlists, right? Because it's that second turn on the Crimea after you produce that tells you what are they focusing on. Enlists, mechs, upgrades.
Yeah, Polania is...
You
take the structure and the for oil, no question. It gives you you produce the 4 workers, you get an upgrade, and then you move out with your speed mech. This is not horrible.
No, but the other 2 guys got mechs. Oh, he didn't even build the mine.
I don't know about that.
So, well, I guess you need to produce twice to get your workers, right?
And you can upgrade, deploy both times, and then trade for submerge, right?
Produce an upgrade, trade for 2 food, produce an upgrade again, then you trade for submerge, and you can move and enlist. Oh, 2 pop for an upgrade and 2 resources. That's beautiful for Albion.
Money.
Take the 2 metal, upgrade, move, and deploy. Oh, that is just absolutely what you want to see.
As he says, the best encounter in the game. Best encounter option. There's more than one encounter that has that option.
Yes.
And now he's got enough metal for another mech.
This is for Albion, this is laying out to be the scenario I joked about with BB on Discord. That you get 2 encounters right away, and both of them are the 2 pop for an upgrade and 2 resources. As long as you enlist in between, you have the pop to spend.
Is that what he's going to do? I think you're right. I think that's what he's going to do. Wow, if that actually happens.
Yeah.
If that actually happens, the other players are just like oh my gosh.
Well, then I can at least say told you so to BB that it makes Albion competitive.
I don't even know.
Or what does he take? Does he take the pop, or does he have to take the combat cards?
Take the pop. Do it.
I agree.
Both of the other factions are going to be in their base for a while. Do it.
Yeah.
You've got an upgraded move.
Take the pop.
He's thinking about it.
He is. Maybe he's listening to us.
What did he take?
Oh, he took the cards. Sorry, I misread it. I thought he took coins for a second. He took the cards.
Okay.
So he's not giving himself the opportunity for another amazing encounter.
Not playing for the dream. Because if you got that encounter again, you could take 2 food, then trade for 2 metal, get an enlist, and that's
because you just
3
moved,
mechs.
you'd probably take the metal. Because you just moved, you'd probably take the metal and deploy right away.
Well, you already have the metal, so you could take either. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Polania well on their way to stockpile here.
Yeah. I always thought objectives like stockpile or common man or something should be worth 2 stars. We should have 2 different tiers of objectives.
This is a new Crimea Agricultural. I've not seen this Crimea Agricultural opening before. The one that Joy's doing.
Mm-hmm. I've seen him describe a version of it.
Food is not bad on this encounter, right? Because you moved off
your farm.
Right. And you're agricultural, so you could take the mech if you wanted it. You got 4 pop.
And that's what he does. Yep, that makes a ton of sense.
He's already got a plan for the food, I guess.
Well, you have, I mean, the most important list is the first one. And remember, if you're he's going to, at this point, probably hit at least 2, maybe 3 more encounters during the game. Food is so prevalent in those encounters, you're likely to pick it up from at least 1, if not 2.
The Polania doesn't need to take the second upgrade on deploy because they have 2 metal on the board already. Does Albion wish they'd taken the pop? No, they're good.
No.
They're good.
This is a good 2 resources for 3 resources is great.
5 resources over and an upgrade over 2 encounters is, I mean, that's the dream.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's what Albion needed to see in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think he takes 2 metal, but no, he takes 3 food, which is the same as taking 2 metal in a food.
Yeah.
Because now you can, presumably he'd trade for 2 metal.
Trade and enlist.
Take an enlist.
Produce. Move, deploy. Yeah.
So interesting.
Worker star and 2 metal.
Albion actually took the combat card enlist first instead of the coin enlist. So they've missed out on, I think, at least 1 mech out of Polania and 2 from themselves, right? Well, 1 from themselves, 1 from Polania, and 1 or 2 from Crimea.
No, one of Crimea's first one I think came before they enlisted, and Crimea's second one came via encounter. I think they only missed out on the 1 from Polania, and now they just got their.
Did they have 2 mechs out before they had their enlist?
Yeah,
it was just 2 coins. I guess.
No, they only had 1 out. So yeah, 1 of their own and 1 of Polania's, so 2 coins. And you figure with Scout here, you'd like a fistful of combat cards. And you saw food for Polania, so you figure they're enlisting. You know Crimea Ag is always going to enlist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's Joy's plan for the food.
Yeah, he's moving to farm. I wondered for a minute if he was going to go for a second upgrade on those enlists. And if you get a second upgrade on the enlists, you don't need food, right?
True. But this way you don't need to spend your cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that second upgrade, you could upgrade the card bolster. If you wanted.
Sure.
You'd net 2 cards, right? And get an enlist for free.
Well, this is certainly the fastest Crimea we've seen. It's round 8, and he's got 2 mechs in the middle of the board, and it's getting that second encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, oil, beautiful. More upgrades.
Why the mech on the tundra? Prevent the tunnel block?
Yeah, and then because Polania can get the factory first, so you can come with 2 mechs to the factory.
Mm-hmm.
Your next turn, you trade and deploy Scout.
Really hoping Polania doesn't get a mech factory card here, though, right?
Yeah. I would have maybe considered, as Crimea, bringing a worker to that tunnel, because you could have gotten by with just 4 food for your enlists using combat cards, and then you'd be able to deploy Scout on that tunnel too, and potentially do a 3v1 on the factory.
Polania
or a 2v1 on the factory and spread. What was that?
Polania with a nice spreading move as well, but only one ahead of Crimea.
Yeah. I don't think that factory card is what they wanted. We saw that one last game too.
Albion did trade for 2 metal and get an enlist like we talked about, by the way.
Yep.
Now, 1 produce gives Albion the rest of the metal they need. I'm not saying they'll do it this turn, but 1 produce gives them the rest of the metal they need. And that was fancy. I like that.
Yeah, that was neat. I think Polania is going to use their factory card and get the heck off this factory before Crimea comes and stomps them.
And Albion has sword, so you don't want to lose down to 1 power if you're Polania.
Yep. Well, Albion will take 2 turns
fast.
there.
So Crimea bolsters, pays a card, and the food, I guess. Wait, Crimea enlist?
Yeah. The bolstered enlisted.
Oh, they did take a second upgrade on that enlist. They didn't have food on the ground.
Yeah.
I thought I was
so
going
they don't
crazy.
Have to produce then. And they have the metal they need, given that they can spend combat cards, and everyone else can keep enlisting.
Let's see. Polania's factory card we haven't talked about. This is the second time we've seen that factory card. It's the resource for 2 power and a combat card. Not great for sure.
But there's one of the benefits to doing the produce between the trade in turns 1 and 3 when Polania started out, because guess what? They had a spare wood doing nothing there that they got to spend for that factory card. So any factory card where you spend a resource, it's nice having spare wood laying around.
Yeah, I hate it, but it can come in handy. Okay, Crimea's on the move here.
Yeah.
They did take the second upgrade and just said to heck with your food. Turn 10. Dear heavens, turn 10 factory with Crimea Agricultural.
That's what I said. This is the fastest Crimea we've seen.
I mean, that mech off the encounter was huge. That's
yeah.
That's not what he thought. I don't think he thought he was hitting the factory in turn 10 when he started this game, but he adapted to it perfectly. And here he is.
Why did Crimea leave 3 workers on that village?
To get the double worker star.
If only there were such a thing. I guess they left it with a mech, and they're going to, once they get Wayfarer, you're going to spread out into the Saxony to get the 4 in a row there.
Yeah, the factory is trash this game. Albion is upset.
Factory cards must really suck. Because we've just seen 2 like pretty low tier factory cards here. I mean, that one's nice for Crimea. They're going to rack up coin and they have power to spare.
What did Albion do? Oh no, it's still Crimea's
Nothing
turn.
yet.
It's Polania's turn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So what are we thinking so far here? I mean, I think Crimea looks quite strong.
Yeah, Crimea's in a really strong spot. They have enough metal. They have all the resources they need. They have enough metal for the rest of their mechs, and they don't need food. So Crimea can basically get 1, 2, 3, 4 bottom row actions in 4 turns, which means they have everything they need in round 15, and they could end in round 16 with 2 combats.
Yeah. So if you're Crimea, you probably deploy Scout. You're probably just doing all your bottom row actions now.
Oh.
No, unless you get attacked here.
I like this though. because you have the ability with rally to bring a worker into battle with you, and then bring another unit to that worker. So losing with your character here is no big deal. Because unlike Tagawa, where losing with your character here would be catastrophic, you can come right back with the character by bringing a worker with one of those mechs that's on the forest into battle.
So if you're Crimea, you anticipate that this is it's just baiting you to spend, and you probably throw, what, 4 or 5 total between like a middling combat card and some power? I mean, you have the power to spend, but I don't think you go all out here. No,
He should
maybe
have
not.
listened to you. I think Albion got just what they wanted right there.
Yeah,
but I think now Crimea is going to pick up Scout.
Yeah, so I think you deploy Scout, and then the next 2 turns are deploy Scout, bolster enlist, deploy Wayfarer, bolster enlist. Meanwhile, you have 2 units on the factory, and it'd be hard for anyone to take it from you with all the power and cards and Scout.
Yeah, but remember, when you have, here comes another mech, but it can't go on the factory, as you pointed out earlier. With Crimea only having 2 cards, Albion will know what one of Crimea's cards is if he chooses to fight them. But they're going to bolster. They're going to bolster and enlist before that happens.
Yes.
Aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to have 3 more power. I guess they won't have another card though, because they'll spend it here. They'll have to spend the one for the resource unless they bolster for a combat card.
All right, BB's got 3 in a row challenge-wise. So does Crimea.
Yeah.
But if BB ends the game with 3 in a row, Joy needs 6. So.
Yep. Time-wise, Joy's been the slowest so far. So he'd need 7,
which is the max.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine BB ending with less than 3 right now.
Because he got submerged. And
I knew it was going to come up again. I knew it.
BB putting his character there, like the 7 in a row, the same one that Crimea got last game, isn't safe because the character can jump in and interfere with one there and cut it short by 1 or 2.
There's the bolster enlist. Crimea's going to go to 2 combat cards. Look at Albion with the 6 coin lead right now.
Oh, yeah. Because I got one from somebody else's enlist. Yeah, Albion's slightly, but it's quite close. What objective did Crimea just have? Do you see? King of the Hill?
It wasn't diversify. I didn't see it. We can't ask them right now. This is the lightning round, so they won't respond.
Yeah.
Crimea goes up by 3. Albion's getting their 3rd enlist.
Yeah, and they're... Oh, did they trade for metal? Are they just going to bottom row, like empty bottom row deploy for the coin?
Well, why not? You only need 2 more food.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Might as well. Turn that militant board into a bank.
That's right.
Or cash register, I guess. Either one. Both metaphors work.
Polania can 2v1 you. They don't care about their popularity. They have 5, so they might care about it.
It just got camaraderie, so doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Albion would go to 5 power and 1 card. Polania would have 4 power and 2 cards. They wanted to do that.
Well, that's interesting. I thought we'd just see a factory move in Crimea come and try to protect this Saxony village encounter and get a longer stretch in a row.
All right, there's a move to the village. Crimea has 4 in a row, but that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, that's why I thought Crimea was going to come into the Saxony, Wayfarer into Saxony, drop a worker on the Saxony mountain, and put a mech where Polania just went to get the encounter, because that would prevent Polania from coming to get that encounter.
Polania is going to pick up They can pick up 2 recruits here and get the enlist star if they want.
Oh yeah.
What they get didn't show anything on my screen.
They took the $2 and a pop and skipped any other option. Yeah.
Why?
I mean, they have the food. They have the food they need, so they're going to bottom row enlist because they're certainly going to move again anyway. So why spend the $3?
Oh, they had 4 food? I thought they only had 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Game's not going to end before they move again.
I thought they had 2 food. Game's moving quickly. All right, Albion's turn. Kind of time for a move here if you're Albion, maybe. You're down by 8 right now. The factory sure changes that. And you take it.
Yeah,
there.
but
you can't take it.
No.
So you just give up on the factory card dream right now? Just start spreading?
And the thing is, Crimea is going to keep that factory on lockdown as long as they can. Polania is on lakes or way out of reach.
Well, what you can do is you can attack Crimea here and force and drain them again. And
does
essentially,
it drain them that much? I mean, you take
them
2 power
at the very least. So here's what I'm thinking though: you attack Crimea, you get them to spend something. They don't even have to spend everything. You bring the character back up to this forest, take at least 1 unit with no workers into the factory. Get them to spend something. Gives them another combat star. Crimea can't end this game unless they're winning the challenge. A normal game, you hand Crimea the point, right? And they bolster enlist, trade deploy in 2 turns, turn 14 and 15, and the game's over. But if they do that with only 4 in a row with Polania at 3, they lose.
Yeah.
And BB walks away with the championship because he'll have the challenge right now, and everyone would have a game win. So maybe if you're Albion, you count on the fact that Crimea knows that, and you play where Crimea can't end the game. And you just hit him on the factory over and over again until you take it.
Could be. I know why Crimea didn't Wayfare last time, because they didn't have Wayfare yet. Just figured that out.
That's a good reason.
I think Crimea's next move has to be to deploy Wayfare to be able to get those ones in a row. You want to save that. Either you want to finish with the enlist, or you want to finish with a guaranteed combat. Ideally, the enlist, so you can do it whenever you want.
And those 3 coins are nice.
Mm-hmm.
Crimea has already taken that coin bonus as well. As well as we were talking about, one of the factions had done that in the last game, Albion.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering if they might stop that worker and take their flag back.
Lonnie is still with 3 in a row, though.
Mm-hmm. Crimea could interrupt one of those if they eventually, right? If they get to that farm, if they plant a mech on that farm tunnel, then they can riverwalk to.
Albion's tied with the lead right now. Crimea electing to deploy the mech, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Polania is way down in score. This is the point in the game where I think if you're Polania, you're way down in score. I mean, you're close with mechs and enlists. Don't know where combats are going to come from. I mean, you can 2v1 people, but you wonder, should they just focus on challenge maximization to try to get the 4 or 5 in a row? With Submerge, you can just go have a party over in the Tagawa and Russ area.
Polania needs another encounter, right? They've got 3 enlists. They've got 3 mechs. They need 2 combats and a objective. They're on the verge of tier 2. So an encounter could give them metal, and it could give them. Well, they have the metal. They have 1 metal. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
they have the metal they need.
What I was saying, should Polania still be focusing on trying to win this game, or should Polania focus on winning the challenge?
Well,
and then you need Crimea and not Albion to win the game.
Exactly. And if this game goes long enough, you'd think Albion will win the game. Okay, chat asks Crimea, and I was going to mention this earlier, Crimea can go to this farm over here and reduce Polania to 2 in a row.
Yeah.
But isn't Polania up by 3 right now? So that wouldn't cut it. Polania,
yeah. Well, that'd be part of it'd be that plus you need to extend your own. They could do that and the next turn take if they did that and got more than one mech there eventually, they could take Polania's village in their peninsula and make it 5 in a row for Crimea while reducing Polania's.
That would do it. But it's not going to do it just to take the farm.
No, that's a start though.
Yeah.
And you can also go in there, and now Polania even has a mech in there that you can suddenly threaten.
This is
combat.
Creating a fascinating game, though. Because Crimea's in the driver's seat to end, but they can't end. And Polania is trying to hang on to the challenge.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. 4. The play for 4 in a row here.
Yep.
It's not 4 in a row. It's not going to be enough, though. You're going to have to get more.
And their workers are in weird spots to get more.
Because BB's up by 3, right?
Oh, yeah, BB's up 3. And right now, the time, they're 7 seconds apart on time as of the start of BB's turn. So Crimea just needs their bolster to win. So I'm guessing the next move is going to be a standard move. You can take that mech off the farm tunnel with a worker and get it. You can extend yours to 6 in a row in the Tagawa area.
And then Polania bumps your village worker. Right? Like in Settlers of Catan, where you're mean and you build a settle with one of these lake mechs. Because to get to 6 in a row, you had to take that worker with you. And you need 6 because 5 isn't enough. Yeah, you put that.
Or you let them bump it and you come back with a factory card and take it right back.
Right.
Because if they bump it, they're also losing pop.
And while they're going back and forth, Albion wins it, right? Because that's all they need.
Could be.
They've got the enlist.
Taking a long time to think. They've lost their time advantage now.
They've got just need an objective and 2 combats. Albion in a position to get one of those combats on Polania, not the village.
Yeah,
that would be pretty easy for the taking, and that would
disrupt. That would take them from 3 in a row to 2 in a row.
1 in a row, right? No, 2. You're right, 2. Whoa. My mouse just went crazy on me there. So if they go to 2 and Crimea's at 4, Crimea still can't end, right? They're closer to being able to end, but they still can't end because if Polania has 2, Crimea needs 5 in the time advantage. They still have to move.
And then if Crimea wants, they can take Polania's farm, because then it leaves Polania down to 1. And they could also move a mech and pick up a worker and get to 5 in a row on their own. So I think we're guaranteed to see a move from Polania, or from Crimea, no matter what.
Yeah, so Crimea could move the farm mech to the forest near their base, which would make it 1, 2... Oh, Polania's having nothing with this. Polania is going to keep that challenge point. They're not going to let Crimea take it. But, I mean, I don't know.
Well, so Crimea on a move can bring get off that farm tunnel, bring a worker over. Oh no, they could. Never mind. They can knock Polania down to 3, but they're still only at 4. Then maybe a couple turns to finagle that more.
Polania is going to win this fight. They brought their resources with them. They need that food for an enlist. They're going to win this fight.
Yeah.
So here comes combat star number 1 and enlist star. So Polania goes to 4, needing just a combat and an objective. So assuming they have the points, they could factory card to win next turn. And they've got power on that. They've got power on that factory card. And they've got a wood.
If they're winning the challenge, they don't need the points to win, right? They can end the game with a Crimea win. Which makes it interesting
you can't force Crimea to enlist though, and Crimea won't end as long as you have the challenge.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to need to either win this game or give the win to. You can't give the win to Albion. Albion can't win.
Yeah.
Crimea is not going to take it. There's the objective.
Oh.
There's the objective. Can they get enough though? They're down by 15. It doesn't. Can they? They can't force anyone to win by suiciding. Albion's not turned in an objective, and it's suiciding on Crimea does nothing.
The only one that can be suicided into right now is Polania.
So can Polania win a combat? So can Crimea suicide into Polania and get the challenge? I don't think they can.
No, they need to get to 6 in a row. Hope Crimea is doing a lot of thinking now. They have a 2-minute time advantage on Polania. They need to get to 6 in a row, which they have a standard move action. I don't think they can.
They can get to 5 in a row.
Yeah,
but it'd be all they did.
Does 5 in a row include knocking Polania down to 2 in a row though?
No, they could move the farm mech to the forest, wayfare the one from their base to Tagawa's tundra, and then hop a worker over to that mountain, and that would give them 5 in a row.
Yeah.
But it'd be very fragile.
Yeah. Oh. Well, not anymore.
Crimea they have to take this Polania village now.
Yeah.
And not lose that farm. This is not looking good for Crimea.
Nope.
You think Albion has 3 tunnels? They're playing like they have 3 tunnels.
I think it's just spread and to keep other combats open.
Maybe right.
They might. No, if they had... I don't know, because they have a flag here still on a tunnel that's uncovered right now. But I suppose you can move there with a worker next turn.
There's a worker on it. Mountain tunnel?
Is there?
There's a worker.
Oh, okay.
That's got to put Albion ahead. 65.
Oh, yeah. Objective. I didn't see what it was.
It's over. This is over. Albion's gonna win this. They can Oh no, they can't factory card. They can't end it for until turn 18. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time for something to happen. Okay, here comes Crimea. Gonna start to work on this challenge.
Yeah.
Crimea is so frustrated right now. I guarantee you. Because both Albion and Polania that turn made it virtually impossible for Crimea to win this set.
Yep.
I mean, how do you... Albion's going to end in 2 turns. I don't think... Unless there's a scenario where Albion can't get a combat... They have 0 power. That is true. But they're right next to the factory, which means they could bring 3 units to the factory. Maybe you don't win the factory, though. So Albion might not be able to get the combat. Oh, Crimea's leaving the factory. I mean, doesn't that help Albion? Because that's what Albion wants, is to get a combat on that factory, because it's the one place where they can carry a worker into battle.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to carry a worker into a battle because, I mean, they could go 2v1 versus Polania on the tundra and win that combat. They're probably far enough ahead to do it. What do you do if you're Albion here? Do you produce? You can't produce. What do you do?
Bolster?
Yeah, bolster. Bolster and you hope for the best.
Polania policing Albion now. So they have to. Or you trade for food and dry enlist.
Off the enlist. So you pick up a coin and a combat card.
Look how many combat cards everybody has. 11, 10, and 10.
Look where Polania moved. This is over. Albion suicide can hit Polania. It doesn't matter who wins the fight.
Yeah. Well, Polania can move off there, though. That was a factor move. They can standard move and just get on the lake.
Oh, they can standard move, so they'll have a turn before Albion.
Yeah.
Well, they have to do that. They have to go grab it and... Well, no, it doesn't matter, because Albion can hit... Okay, they'd have to move 3... No. They've got 4 units where Albion can hit them.
Yeah, but one is a 1v2.
This is a factory
Crimea's. Yeah.
Is Crimea going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row here?
I think so.
Is that enough? It's not enough.
It's not enough, but the next turn they can move and try to take that from Polania to get 7 in a row. Other than you open up being hit by Albion. They might just stop there.
Oh, you... Okay, Crimea cannot move enough units to the lake with 3 moves. Because there are 3 different spots. Polania cannot move enough units to the lake because there are 3...
So you move the 2 that are mechs alone to lakes. And then it'd be a 2v1 here if Albion attacks, which you can easily win with all your combat cards and the excess power.
But you go to 6 stars if you win. That's what I'm saying.
Oh. Yeah,
Albion
but then...
still has a flag. So
Crimea's in the lead right now. You would... If you move, you can add some territory, right? You can pick up 1 more hex with your moves.
But it's so fragile right now if you're Polania because Albion's only down by 1. And they only give up 1 territory to suicide on you, so that's 3. And they have 2 other moves, so they can easily pick up. Can they pick up 4? 1. They take 2 away from Crimea, it's the same difference. So you move, say, this Tundra mech to the village and take a worker from Crimea. You move the character... No, you move the character to the wood tunnel. That picks up a territory because you drop a flag. You move a worker from the northwest tundra to that mountain. That picks up 2 territories. And
so then I think if you're Polania, you stomp on the Albion village, you stomp on the Albion tundra or mountain tunnel, right? And then you attack Albion somewhere. And that ends the game with a Crimea win, and you win the challenge.
Okay, you stomped on that. You just put Crimea up by 6, but you're going to take this territory away from Crimea. Crimea is just going to be up by 4.
Yeah, I don't know why you attack Crimea there. I think you stomp on 2 Albion territories and go attack Albion. It ends the game, give Crimea the win, and you win the challenge. All right, because Albion only has 2 in a row. You have 3 in a row. You'd take it. Oh, there, they did 2 of 3 of what I suggested.
He didn't do the suicide, though.
But I guess, he's probably hoping to win this against Crimea. Right, he's got the combat
you're right,
cards.
The suicide wins it. If he gives the game to Crimea...
He's going to win the combat, give the game win to Crimea. Yeah, he's just going to do it a different way than what I suggested. Same result.
Same result. Does that mean Polania just won? Just won the set?
Yeah. Yeah, because they'll have 3 in a row.
The Crimea's 3 in a row. They win the challenge.
Albion's 2.
And they win a game.
Yep. Wow.
Wow. Right, 1 point for Joy Division on Crimea with the 3rd Crimea win. 1 point for Dur on Crimea with another Crimea win. 1 point to BB in the first game on Crimea. And BB Scythe, off the power of that, 7 in a row in game 2, cruises to the challenge point for the championship. This was dynamic. And yes, Crimea won all 3 games, but all 3 games were close. And as much as it's a little odd to suicide to give someone else the win in, not suicide, but play to give someone else the win in game 3, it was shrewdly done. And I think we counted Polania out for most of that game because we didn't see them getting to 6 stars first. So they didn't have to get to 6 stars before Crimea. They just had to get there before Albion. And they got there before Albion.
Well, that's what I suggested up front, right? Make sure you win the challenge and then make sure Crimea wins.
Mm-hmm. And there's one way to do that would be to get Crimea 6 stars. But Crimea was too shrewd to let them pull that off. The other way is to get the 6 stars yourself, which is what they did. And they had the time to do it because Albion was slow and Crimea wasn't willing to do it themselves. Now, if Crimea had attacked Albion on that tundra, they would have had 5 in a row, but it wouldn't have been enough because Polania still had 3. And Crimea needed to beat Polania by 3, not 2.
Yep.
So you hit the nail on the head. Hold on to the challenge point and give Crimea the win. It worked.
Yeah, wow. What a set. That was fun to watch. Lots of very excellent counterplay and counterplay among really 3 of the best players.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, Nevik, it's been great to have you on the stream with me. Thanks for covering this set with me. It was a lot of fun to watch. I want to thank everybody watching who tuned in to watch it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And until next time, thanks again, Nevik.
Yeah. Thanks, Omaf. It was a lot of fun. Until next time.
I'll catch you guys later.